The reaction from Tottenham Hotspur crashing out of the Carabao Cup on Wednesday evening. Vicario is up for a Premier League award, and a former Tottenham Hotspur goalkeeper has retired from football aged just 26 to pursue a career in photography. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. This is another episode of Tottenham News where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Now, Tottenham Hotspur are now out of the Carabao Cup, having lost 2-0 away at Newcastle on Wednesday evening. Now, the quarter-final draw has been made. Arsenal will face Crystal Palace, Cardiff against Chelsea, Manchester City will host Brentford, and Newcastle United will take on Fulham. Now, after Wednesday's game, this is what Thomas Frank and captain Pedro Porro had to say.
Thomas, thanks for joining us. Ended up 2-0 to Newcastle. Thought we played all right. What did you think?
Yeah, I think it's always disappointing to lose. And it's always disappointing to be out of a tournament where I would like to progress to the next round and the next round and so on. So that's a disappointing thing. To look a little bit bigger perspective, I think our performance were good. I think when it comes to like James Park, I think we create more shots than them. We looked much better in phase 1 and 2. I think we looked more clear in our attacking ways. I think we ended in some good situations. I think we really tested Ramsdale's at times. He had some fantastic saves. And then we had maybe 6 or 7 situations where it's like this, then we arrive in the right moment and we hopefully score. So I think that's the positive. And I think mentality was good.
It's often says, isn't it, key moments decide games, don't they? And I think that's probably the case tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's football sometimes is margins, and I think in a tight game it was margins. I think the first one, a set piece where we normally has been very good off diff. Always things we need to look at. I think the second one we lost the ball, and then we have to defend the box, and then it happens again. But Tony shouldn't go for the ball, just stay in there. And I think Chile would have catched it, but that is a decision you need to make, and it happened.
Okay, it's relentless at the moment, and there's a big game coming Saturday. But just an important thing, team news wise, as I say, we've lost Archie. Did everyone come through that as far as you're aware tonight?
As I'm aware, everyone should come through it fine. And now it's about come back quick, recover, be ready for big game on Saturday.
Okay, Pedro's here at St James's. Pedro, just give us your thoughts on the performance.
It's the first point disappointing, no? I think it's for us, for all fans coming today in the night in Wednesdays. I think for me, myself, and the whole team, thank you so much for the support today. I think it's bad result for them, no, and for us, I think. But I love the mentality, the team, no, because you can see the goal in the set pieces. This is happening in football, but stay in the game. Start the second half. You can set again other goal. And the best for today is the all fans. Thank you so much, and keep coming Saturday in game and keep coming. Yeah.
Some of our football going forward was good, wasn't it? I mean, we created some chances. Couple across the goal from Richarlison, just wide. I mean, we had some chances out there.
Yeah, I think we play well in the first half. A little combination inside, maybe stay with the ball 1 more second for the the last pass, or maybe in this moment you need one people more in the area. Sometimes football is there, no, but I think the most important today is the mentality. We push everything in the pitch. You lose this game, disappointed because the last season you arrive in the semi-final and you lose in Anfield, no. But I think it's for me in the other team, them is good, no. The atmosphere is for me incredible, and this is important for the game. But we know have a new game in Saturday and on Saturday and in the afternoon, and we go there.
Now, after the defeat against Newcastle, Thomas Frank has confirmed that Vicario will be back for the Chelsea game. He said Vicario had a small thing that had to be done. He's ready for Chelsea. Odobert had a side strain. Unfortunately, that kept him out of the Newcastle game. Also, we need to assess him, but he could look positive for the Chelsea match. Also on Wednesday, after the Newcastle game, Thomas Frank was asked about Archie Gray and his injury, and was it a training injury? His reply was he would have started against Newcastle. He got a contact to the calf in Monaco, and probably in there or whatever also picked up a calf strain. It's just been announced by the Premier League and Tottenham Hotspur Football Club that goalkeeper Guillermo Vicario has been shortlisted for the Premier League's Save of the Month award after his remarkable save to deny Ndiaye in Sunday's 3-0 win against Everton. Right back Pedro Porro captained Tottenham on Wednesday in our 2-0 away defeat at Newcastle in the Carabao Cup fourth round. He wrote the following on Instagram after the match: "Disappointed with the result. We competed, we fought, but we have to take our chances. That is football. Thanks to the fans who came out to support us. See you at home on Saturday." Forward Matisse Tell wrote the following on an Instagram story on Thursday: "We will continue to fight for this jersey no matter what happens. Thank you for your support last night." A report has just been published by the Daily Mail, and lots of other national papers have covered this story as well. Premier League footballer retires aged 26 to take up surprise new career just weeks after helping Tottenham win the Europa League. A member of Tottenham's Europa League winning squad from just a matter of a couple of months ago has called time on his footballing journey for a shock new career. The star, now 27, was with Spurs from his youth team days before signing his first professional deal, and was with the team until the end of last season. The player in question is goalkeeper Alfie Whiteman. Talking to The Athletic, he said, "Football is a short career regardless, even if you do really well, and I knew that I didn't want to stay in it. It was about trying to gain experience and be proactive in learning about these things I was also interested in, but mainly because I was enjoying it and was surrounded by the kinds of people that were doing what I enjoyed as a job. They were making things. It was really inspiring." The report from the Daily Mail then goes on to say he made one appearance for Tottenham Hotspur at senior level, which came under Jose Mourinho in the Europa League in 2020. He tried to leave the club in 2024, but Spurs needed club-trained players for their Europa League campaign, and he ended up being part of the winning squad. He went on to explain that he had 2 trials in the summer, one at a League One club and one at a Championship club, but eventually decided he saw happiness in his other ventures, which is photography. The Daily Mail then go on to say that Whiteman has since worked with the likes of Nike, also performing his craft in the likes of Norway and Ukraine. He also said he has not watched any football matches since retiring from playing. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about the 2-0 away defeat at Newcastle. Of course, we had been unbeaten all season in all competitions away from home. This is the first time on the road that we were defeated. I tell you what, for me personally, it took me 6.5 hours to get to Newcastle, even longer to get home. Of course, you've got to take into consideration traffic, etc. And when I posted on social media saying how long it had taken me to get there, you then get Smart Alex saying, "Why didn't you get the train? And why didn't you do this? And why didn't you do that?" There are also issues with trains as well. And, not many trains were running back to the likes of London after the game. 5,000 people went up to Newcastle on Wednesday. And I tell you what, we deserved more. The performance was really poor. I don't agree with what Thomas Frank said after the game. He said it was one of our best offensive performances. If you want to listen to the press conference, I think it's about 5.5 minutes long. It's available on the channel. Check it out. But I don't agree with what Thomas Frank said there at all. Yes, we created a couple of chances. Goalkeeper had to make a good save in the second half, but Richarlison had a couple of chances to bury, and I just don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident with Richarlison up front. And I'll be honest, I don't feel that comfortable with Mawani and Tell up front, like we finished the game in the second half. We are really lacking in the final third, and I feel like that is a real fair thing to say. We are really lacking in the final third. If we look like scoring, it is not the players in the final third right now. It is either in midfield or it's from a set piece, the likes of Mickey van der Ven heading home, hence why he scored 5 goals and is our top goal scorer so far this season. The excitement at the moment for Thomas Frank and co seems to be coming from set pieces and long throws. Is this the Tottenham way? Absolutely not. Will people get frustrated with it? I think they will. In the long term, what I'm hoping for, and I think that what one would be hoping for certainly, is that when we get our creative players back, Dejan Kulusevski, James Maddison, Dominic Solanke, we've got 10 players out at the moment, and we just seem to be going around in circles these last few years of having this amount of injuries. Really, really frustrating, I might add, to be in October and we've got 10 injuries, 10 players out. Archie Gray is the latest one to be injured. Of course, we're waiting for the latest team news from Thomas Frank. Of course, he will have his press conference on Friday, as well as Maresca, ahead of the Tottenham-Chelsea game Saturday evening. So let's wait and see the latest team news there. But that was not a good performance from Tottenham. And, the team were blaming the referee for the first goal with Jed Spence. For me, I feel like you just have to be ready. And, it took, quite a long time. And I feel like the referee did actually give ample time. Although some people would like to blame the referee. That's up to you. We all see football differently. We all have different opinions. But I just feel like you need to be ready. And the second goal, I felt like Kinski should do a lot better. Yeah, it was really, really 2 poor goals to concede. And when you haven't got that spark going forward and you haven't got that spark in the final third, then you can have a big issue. And that area certainly needs to be looked at in future transfer windows, especially the depth. Like I've said, and like I've said many, many times, I feel like Richarlison is the nicest guy you will ever meet. He is the number 1 Spurs player. If you want to have a selfie with someone, you want to get an autograph of a Spurs player, it will always be Richarlison. Richarlison will always do all of those things. And, people always think that, every player will stop. They don't. Richarlison is the best at doing that, but it's not about that. It's about the pitch. It's about what you are giving on the pitch. And Richarlison, for me, we need improvement and we need change in that final third area. Of course, Mohamed Kudus was a sub on Wednesday evening. A lot of pressure, I think, goes onto someone like Mohamed Kudus. The start that he has had this campaign, João Palhinha, Mohamed Kudus, without doubt, have been our 2 best players. Mickey van der Ven, by the way, has been great at the back as well. Of course, we've been riddled with injuries again, as I've said. But you cannot keep relying on that one player, Mohamed Kudus, to always have that spark to come on and change a game. Of course, Thomas Frank made only 4 changes. Eddie Howe made 8 changes. I know a lot of people said about, Newcastle were a lot stronger. Of course they're stronger. They've got a much better squad and a much better team than us at the moment. And they've got players that can score goals. They went out in the summer transfer window and bought a player that can score goals. And at the moment, we don't have anyone up top to score goals. Javi Simmons, I think that he is a great player. I think he will do very well in the Premier League. He is struggling at the moment. Physicality, you hear that word, Thomas Frank uses that all the time about physicality. He certainly needs physicality. He needs a lot of work in the gym, in my opinion, and he needs upper body strength, because I noticed that very, very early on in the game that Newcastle players roughed him up, if that's the best term I can come up with. They roughed him up, and they made sure that he didn't play, and any passes that he did play, he was put off by, and they weren't very good. Richarlison for me, and I know I've spoken about Richarlison a lot in previous episodes. As a striker, you have to get in those correct positions, and for me, he doesn't do that. And funny enough, in the second half, there was a cross coming in, and I noticed this a couple of times, cross coming in, and he always went to the back post, just waiting for the ball at the back post. Instinct, if anyone's played as a striker, even if it's a Sunday league level, whatever level, you make that run and you get in the best position possible for someone to put that cross in and for you to get on the end of it. In and around the 6-yard box, making that run, making it difficult for defenders. And I don't feel that he does that. And that's instinct. And I feel like real strikers have that. They know exactly where to be. Richarlison, he just doesn't have it. And, every single player that ever puts on that Tottenham Hotspur shirt, I always cheer for them. I always want it to work for them. But sometimes you have to call it out and say, look, this is not going to work. This needs to be changed. The final third needs to be changed with some of our players. There is no creative spark at the moment, and we are really, really lacking in that area. Now, I am not sitting here just moaning about Tottenham because, Thomas Frank has come in and we talk about the style. We talk about, our thing is going to be better. Is it going to be more entertaining when these players do come back? Thomas Frank has come in to a team that finished 17th in the Premier League table. I completely understand that. I completely get that. He has made us a more difficult team to beat, hence our league position at the moment. No team in the Premier League is running away with the league at the moment, and teams are beating each other. Spurs have picked up results. We haven't played that well. We haven't played entertaining football so far this season. And we're still sitting in third spot. So we are in a good place. I just hope that when these creative players do come back into the squad, Maddison, of course, we have to wait a long time for. It might even be next season. Kulusevski, hopefully it will be by the turn of this year, so not long now. And Dominic Solanke, who knows when he is going to be back, but I do feel like he is going to give Thomas Frank a completely different option. What sort of striker will Thomas Frank want Dominic Solanke to be in this system? That is what I can't wait for. I want to see that. Looking forward to seeing how that works. I can also see that Thomas Frank is trying out players in different positions. He is rotating the squad. It's very difficult for a Premier League manager to balance all of these games, Champions League, Premier League, Carabao Cup, etc. But I tell you what, I always say this every year. I always feel really disappointed when Spurs go out of a competition, particularly so early. And when you look at that quarter-final draw, I feel like I say every single year, opportunity missed. Opportunity missed, for a real chance of a trophy. Some people said to me at the ground about the prize money, because I tweeted out and posted on social media about the prize money. £100,000, only £100,000 for the winners of this competition. If Spurs had to beat Newcastle on Wednesday, we would have got £15,000. If you win a quarter-final or a semi-final, it's only £25,000. So the winner of the competition gets 100k and the runner-up gets 50k. Not much money in it at all, but of course, to us fans, winning a trophy, parading a trophy down the high road, that means a lot to us. So it's disappointing. It's disappointing that we've gone out of a cup competition so early in Thomas Frank's start at the football club. Now, this coming week, we've got 3 games coming up. The games are still coming thick and fast. Chelsea at home. Then we've got Copenhagen in the Champions League on Tuesday. And then the following Saturday, we've got Manchester United at home. 2 very, very tough Premier League games coming up. Manchester United, of course, are coming into their own now. They're picking up results, won 3 out of their last 3. And Chelsea, you don't know what you're going to get with Chelsea. They've had some good performances this season. They've had some dreadful performances as well. Liam Delap just picked up a red card in the Carabao Cup game that they just played against Wolves. He is suspended for the game. He's been out injured anyway, so I don't feel like that is a huge miss for them. But it's going to be it's going to be a tough week. 3 games coming up. Thomas Frank is going to need to rotate yet again. He is going to need to use all of his squad available. And, the amount of injuries that we've got is absolutely ridiculous. But I tell you what I really, really would love to see. Of course, we want 3 points in all of these games, but we do need to be entertained. We do want to be entertained. We do need to play a lot more attractive football, and I feel like the management team, Thomas Frank, and all of his coaches need to work in that final third, because defensively, I feel like we are a lot better. Although last week really did worry me, conceding 23 shots against Monaco. How we got out of Monaco with a 0-0 draw and a point, I will never know. But of course, we'll take it. It could be a very, very important point down the line. But these Premier League games against Chelsea and Manchester United, they are going to be tough. I just hope that we see goals. I hope that we, perform at our very, very best. And some of these players, particularly Kolo Muani, Tel, Richarlison, if they're getting minutes, they need to perform. They need to show real quality. And, we haven't seen, that spark from them. Richarlison started the season really well against Burnley. The 2 finishes were absolutely brilliant. I think probably his 2 best games that he's ever played in the Spurs shirt are the 2 cup finals. The Super Cup final against PSG and, of course, the Europa League final against Manchester United. But we need consistency. I thought Bergvall was pretty poor as well on Wednesday. And, some of these players, they need to give a lot more. We know what they're capable of, but it's about consistency. Javi Simmons, of course, we want to see more from him. So it's going to be an interesting lineup on Saturday. But we do, as Spurs fans, we do demand that certain level, the Tottenham way, and being entertained. And of course, it would be nice to get the 3 points. But at the same time, I do, I'm level-headed about it and thinking, well, we did finish 17th last season, so it is going to take Thomas Frank time. But of course, we hate that term as football fans about time, because we want it all now. Now, Vicario up for save of the month. He has been unbelievable. It would be great to have him back. I thought Kinski was actually quite poor on Wednesday, if I'm completely honest. Vicario is back for the Chelsea game. The 2 games that he had against Everton and against Monaco, absolutely brilliant. And Alfie Whiteman, only 1 game in a Spurs shirt. He seemed to be at Tottenham forever. I think he was at the club for about 16 years, from the age of about 10 to 26, so 16 years. And now he's taken up a career in photography. So wishing him all of the very best. Do look out for the press conferences on Friday. Maresca and Thomas Frank talking ahead of this big game, Tottenham v Chelsea. I'm sure there will be a lot of interesting stuff. And those press conferences will be out on the channel sometime on Friday. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you listen to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Enjoy the rest of the week. Stay safe and well. Come on, you Spurs.